Would you borrow $1 from the bank if you knew how to turn it into 5? Most people would say yes, but most people also open a HELOC to fix something around the house. But the people who build real wealth, they run the numbers first. They make the bank's money work for them, not the other way around. And in this video, we're going to walk you through the exact math you need to run before you open a HELOC, using a real case study with real cash flow and a real wealth building goal. Because if you get this wrong, you don't just waste your equity. You waste years, and time is the most valuable asset we have. Let's jump in.
Most of us, as it relates to where our money's sitting, there's mainly 3 buckets. And those buckets are the income that we make from the job, or the W-2 job, or the self-employment, or the rental income that we have. And then there's our nest egg, whether that's an IRA, 401k, 403b, or some type of vehicle that we're putting money away for a future use. And then there's our home. And in most cases, not all, but in most cases, this vehicle and this vehicle ends up being what we will pillage in order to be able to take care of our home. And what I'm ultimately saying is, a lot of times we will do whatever we need to from an income perspective. If we need to put some type of down payment onto our home, we will go after our traditional retirement accounts, borrow whatever we need. We will withdraw, take the tax and penalty hit from whatever we would need, just so that we can make it happen to make sure we're in this home, whether it's to pay off the home or just to qualify to be able to receive that home. And one of the objectives that I have is to help people understand, because your home is one of your largest assets, what if you could leverage that asset to be able to build, to produce wealth? Meaning, while everyone or most people have been educated to, if whatever I need to do here to be able to satisfy the needs to be able to grab that home, I'll do. And if I need to pillage some of my retirement account to be able to execute, I'll do that as well. But what if you could leverage your largest asset to also build wealth? Meaning, it should look more like these 2 vehicles feeding whatever that vehicle is you're using to generate wealth. And this is kind of built based off age, meaning if I'm 18 to prior to retirement age, this is the path that I'm going as it relates to these 2 vehicles. And then if I'm at retirement age, 9 times out of 10, yeah, I still have income, but I'm focused on that post-retirement income to be able to accomplish. And the reason I wanted to share this vehicle is because as we walk through how people have identified their goal and how we have kind of gone through specifics to understand what that goal should actually look like, what I kind of focus my attention on is, where are the opportunities here and where are the opportunities here to be able to support building wealth over time. Initially, this gentleman, 60 years old, and he had a fairly solid understanding of where he was headed, meaning he's good on retirement. He's got his Social Security, he's got his pension, he's fine there. What he had been watching me and my wife over time, and what he wanted to do was wonder, is there an opportunity for him to be able to leverage a SKIA, leverage a MPI plan to be able to build wealth? And so obviously the question is, what's the goal? Well, from his perspective, and again, he came prepared. His goal is to supplement his income if he can, but ultimately, hey, I don't have life insurance. Man, I would love to be able to leave a legacy for my children. And this is where I learned, okay, he has insurable interest. So upon learning he has insurable interest, it was, okay, what can we use here to be able to accomplish this goal? And knowing that he's fine in retirement, this supplemental income, usually when people talk about life insurance, what they're really saying is, I don't want to be a burden. So if something were to happen to me, I want to make sure my family's taken care of. And they're saying, you know what? If there's an opportunity to leave a legacy, I would like to do that as well. And so as we started to peel back layers, what we learned is, yes, he has this home that has a fair amount of equity in it, so there's an opportunity to leverage that. Time horizon isn't necessarily a concern specifically for him. So how long the income being placed into this vehicle is required doesn't necessarily matter, because he's fine in retirement from his perspective. It's really more time horizon around how long it will take for his money to double. How long would it take for his money to compound to be able to be placed in a position to do other things? And then, wow, So if he has children and he's focused on legacy, is there an opportunity to leverage someone other than himself to accomplish this same goal? It wasn't even on his radar. It was, how can secure compound interest account, how can building wealth apply to me so that I can then take care of everyone around me, versus, is there a win-win opportunity here for all of us to be able to leverage a vehicle to be able to support not just him, but also the family, meaning generate wealth. Um, maybe adding a trust into this situation. So the highlight was really understanding or digging into some of these details, asking some, I'll call it, better questions to be able to not just hit his goal, but also kind of flush out or detail specifically what's required of each of the individuals involved.
And if you remember in Cal's particular story, just the fact that he wanted to um, pass on wealth to his children, like that's a common thing that people
Right.
list as one of their goals. However, in that same statement is like a key, right? Is the goal to leave wealth to your kids, or is the goal to generate wealth for your kids? Because there is a big difference. If you're leaving wealth, that means that they have to wait for you to
Right.
kick the bucket until you get to see them thrive and win with that too. So
Right.
I don't think that that's really what everyone would prefer, but that is what they think the options are. And that's many of us, most of us, because that's what we think life insurance is, right?
There's a consistent theme that's going to come out through this as well, and it's the conditioning part. Then there was Tania. Her objective was, you know what? I am looking to free up cash flow. I've been watching you guys, I've been watching your velocity banking videos, and hey, there's an opportunity for me to be able to grab a debt tool and focus on being able to free up some cash flow. Why? My main objective to free up that cash flow is I want to pay off my home. And I want to pay off my home so ultimately I can be debt free. And then once I'm debt free, I can then focus on producing some type of secure compound interest, or get my compound interest working for me so that I can then retire early. And it sounds great, but when I kind of give people back their words, like specifically, hey, I want to become debt free, so I want to pay off my home, however long that would take, and then I want to focus on retiring early. It's almost, these two items almost work against each other. Meaning, if I have a 30-year mortgage and it takes me 10, 15 years to pay off my home, and then after that 10, 15-year period, or 20 years, however long it takes for me to pay off my home, after I pay off my home, then I'm going to focus on what it looks like to be able to retire early. Like, how is that even possible? We have to kind of peel back the layers and go, you know what if you can absolutely accomplish both? Again, if this is an actual goal, accomplish both, but focus on how do you pay yourself first. And so, because she had kind of worked, she'd watched the videos and kind of understood some of the steps. She came to me already prepared with, you know what, I've already been approved for a HELOC, so there's an opportunity here to be able to use that HELOC from her perspective to become debt free. And what were able to break down was, you know what, where you thought you were from a cash flow perspective isn't. And then in addition, you've got this vehicle that you've already been approved for. What if you could leverage both? Meaning leverage the cash flow that you actually have, along with this debt tool that you just received, this home equity line of credit. Leverage them both to accomplish the true goal, which is retire early, which is generating wealth. Because if you're in a position where you can retire early and you have the wealth generated, paying off your home is kind of a pretty simple thing to do, meaning you can use that income that you've generated, or that wealth that you're now generating, to be able to address that home if required. One interesting part about this piece is, hey, um, I need to increase my cash flow. It's peeling back the layers on, where does your cash flow currently go today? In doing so, what we learned in this specific example was, hey, um, I'm doing velocity banking based off what you guys said, and I'm putting extra money on all of my bills to hopefully pay them down. If she fully understood velocity banking, then why would she be putting extra money on other bills as they came due? Because remember, velocity banking is about the debt tool specifically. So if you're putting all of your income into the debt tool, you're actually paying the minimums on everything else. And so, in peeling back some of the layers around what she fully understood around velocity banking, we learned that actually she doesn't only have $150 in cash flow. She actually has considerably more. It's just that her money wasn't necessarily focused in the proper direction. So it was making whatever adjustments we needed to make sure we focus on the true mission. The true mission is freeing up cash flow and leveraging this debt tool to be able to, whether it's pay off debt or build wealth, whichever the case. And then what if we put that cash flow to work and put it to work in a vehicle that can actually produce a return? And then the other part is if retire early is really a focus, if retire early is really at the top of her list, then what is that time horizon and how can we get this vehicle working for as soon as possible to be able to achieve that retire early goal? So lastly is my buddy John. What I love about this story is this was right around the time that I was kind of talking through self-directed retirement accounts and self-directed IRAs and 401ks, being able to leverage them to invest in non-traditional investments. And I was walking through an example around self-storage facilities. And the call I received was, hey, I just left my job. I've got this previous employer's plan and I'm looking to put it to work. Like, whatever I need to do, I am ready to take full control over my previous employer's IRA or 401k in this case, and put that money to work to be able to hopefully invest in self storage or some opportunity so that I can produce cash flow outside of the market. I want to get my money out of the casino. Very, very important. And so he specifically wanted to be able to invest in self storage. And again, with the mission of being able to create tax free income and also put himself in a position to where retire early was a part of his objective as well. Again, I want to retire early, and usually when I get that statement of I want to retire before the age of 65 or before my company allows me to be able to do so, usually my question is, what are the vehicles you currently have in place today to allow you to be able to do that? If that's the goal, what are you doing right now to be able to put yourself in a position such that you will not have to work till age 65? And usually the response is, I'm contributing to my company's retirement account and maybe I'm maxing it out or whatever that a dollar amount is I'm putting into it. And so outside of that, I've got side investments, maybe an Acorn account. Like I got other things that I might be doing, but ultimately the biggest vehicle is usually my company's retirement account. And usually this sentence is the one that usually stops people in their tracks. And that is, well, when will your company's retirement account allow you to retire early? We will pillage our retirement to be able to save our home, but we won't take the necessary actions to actually start building wealth. So it was, you know what, I've got this previous employer's plan. I understand it's not doing the necessary job that it needs to as far as generating I'll call it income over time. So where can I put it? What actively can I do to be able to put it to work? And then in addition to that, from a retire early perspective, it's about that time horizon, right? How can a skier outperform what it was he was looking to be able to do and allow him to accomplish his goals within that time horizon of being able to retire early? And so if that's the case, then how ultimately how can he do all of it? Like, what are the actions that needs to be taking place in order to be able to accomplish all of it within that time frame? And so, I think what I just wanted to highlight there is in most of these cases, when the conversation started, it looked something like this. Meaning, I'm currently at a place and I'm ready to take some actions so I can accomplish this linear goal. Whether it's pay off the home, whether it's pay off a bill, doing velocity banking, it's whatever those steps are I need to take to be able to accomplish this one goal. But in truth, when you start asking different questions, again, it's how, it's why, it's when, it's who's impacted, and how are you going to do it? What vehicle are you going to use? What are you currently doing today? How much cash flow is would it take to be able to accomplish this piece? Would you be allowed to? Do you have access? When you start peeling back the layers and asking some of these questions, what you tend to learn is, you know what? I want to pay off my home, but in truth, once my home is paid off, I still have a long ways to go before I can get to where I want, and that is legacy, that is wealth, that is retire early, whatever that opportunity may be. So it's not a one size fits all. It's not a linear approach. It's actually, hey, can I do some of these same things along the way as I get to my actual goal, which is wealth? Which brings me to habits and beliefs, meaning a lot of the reason why different communities think that becoming debt free is the first option, and then worrying about me and creating wealth is the second, is because that's what we've been taught to do. Finish your dinner before you have a dessert. Hey, I need to get these bills off my plate. It reminds me of this conversation I had with one of my clients around student loan debt. I kept asking, why are you so concerned about paying off this student loan debt? And the best answer she could come up with was, because the weight on my shoulders is so heavy. I'm not looking to pay off the student loan debt because it needs to be paid off. It's the dollar amount being paid on my student loan debt isn't impacting my ability to generate wealth. It's not impacting my ability to pay bills. It just happens to be a bill that I just want off my shoulder. But what if we looked at that debt as, you know what? The good part about that student loan debt is, yeah, it's a dollar amount that I have to pay every month, but in her case, it's not impacting anything else that I need to do. It's a very minimal amount, and I know I will be paying this minimum amount forever. Okay, then what else can you do with the rest of your money? Hey, I can put it in a vehicle and put myself in a position to where I can produce income for life.
It's Sally Mae, right? It's her. Everybody just wants to get rid of her.
And again, I go back to conditioning. It's all conditioning. And what we talk about often is, there's a lot we can discuss. We can talk about the right vehicles. We can talk about the right knowledge, meaning we can share this information all day long. We can go over this over and over and over again, talking about how you can leverage these other vehicles to be able to produce wealth. But none of that matters, whether it's the right knowledge or the right vehicle. Those things don't matter if here we are struggling with understanding how this can actually benefit us. And that's where going over this multiple times, reiterating it, repeating it, saying it over and over and over again allows it to kind of sink in that, you know what? My conditioning is wrong. There's some people that benefit other than me because of my conditioning. You know who pays off, who benefits from you being debt free? The company that you paid that bill off. So the bank or the creditor or Sally Mae. Those are the people that benefit from you being debt free, because you being debt free does not generate wealth. You being debt free does not put you in a position to where you can build income. So how about we focus on us? And to focus on us, it's all about that wealth equation. So the generating wealth is what? Pay yourself first. The first variable in that equation is, before you pay a bill, before you pay your mortgage, before you pay Sally Mae, put yourself in a position so that you can put your money in a place where it can at least start compounding for you. So it's pay yourself first. And when should you pay yourself first? It's not tomorrow. It's not after you pay off your car. It's pay yourself first today, right now. And you want to make sure you're putting your money somewhere where it's secure. So maybe you don't have a secure compound interest account yet. That's fine. Can you at least put your money in savings where you're not making much, or high yield savings where you're making a little bit more, but at least pay yourself first today, and you place that money somewhere where you can get it compounded. And then we identify what that vehicle needs to be to get your money compounding. We educate, we learn, we focus on, hey, what are those vehicles out there today that can help me retire early if that's the goal? What are those vehicles out there today that can do better than my current company's retirement account? What are those vehicles out there today that can allow me to reduce risk, get my money out of the casino? So regardless of who's president, regardless of whether Elon Musk goes to the moon or not, my money will be protected, and I won't be concerned as to what tomorrow brings as it relates to how I'm generating wealth. And then the last piece is OPM, using leverage to grow your money faster than you can do on your own. We're going to leverage someone else's money at a low interest rate, put that money to work. We're going to pay back the money that we owe, but we're going to make more than what it is we owe on the money. So therefore we keep the spread. And because we're allowed to keep that spread, that allows our money to compound faster than it would have been had I not had that additional leverage to begin with. It's no different than why we want a HELOC in place of a mortgage so that we can leverage the equity in our home today, not when I sell the home, not when I cash out refi, but I can leverage the equity in my home right now by debit card to put that money to work. Because if I can put that money to work, I can build income for myself. And again, so as it relates to what's the goal, when you've been conditioned to understand or believe that, hey, I need to become debt free, I need to hit all of my baby steps, and then I have to, once I've done eating my dinner, then I can have dessert and start to build wealth. It's kind of understanding the impact of all of that. Meaning, how many compound cycles are lost if I am waiting till 15 years before I start building wealth? And so if you've connected the dot that, what, whoa, 15 years is far too long for before I can start focusing on what I need to be able to start generating wealth, then hey, maybe I need to go a different path. And then in addition, I get it. The becoming debt free is a thing. But if I'm debt free tomorrow, if I wave a magic wand and I no longer have that mortgage payment, one, how long did it take me to do it? And what did I win? What was the benefit of me becoming debt free? Or is there a better way to leverage the debt that I have to start generating wealth? What do I mean? Well, maybe if I have my mortgage and maybe I have a second position home equity line of credit, or maybe I have a first position home equity line of credit in place of my mortgage, can I leverage the money or the equity that is inside of my home to be able to put myself in a position so that I can start building wealth? And then the last piece is, this is a big one to me. To me, this is the start of it all. It is pay yourself first. Once you accept the fact that, what, before that cable bill is paid, I'm going to take care of me, right? Before I put my kids in Little League, I'm going to make sure the household is being fed first. I am going to pay myself first today. And I think once you start there, I think everything else is secondary. Meaning, okay, if I make $100,000 a year and I'm putting $10,000 away in a secure compound interest producing vehicle that is designed to produce income, then okay, I can take that 90,000 and do whatever those things are I wanted to do. I can go back and do the baby steps. We can pay off the mortgage if that's the goal. But because I'm paying myself first, I know I've got this vehicle that's generating or putting myself in a position to where I can generate wealth. And then once you realize, man, how powerful this vehicle is, you end up pulling back from, wait a minute, why was I paying off my mortgage again? What I actually need to be doing is putting as much as I can into this vehicle, because I know that the more I put into this vehicle, I'll be able to pay off my home in my sleep. But in addition to that, there's a certain amount of income that I'd be able to achieve as well. When we talk about what is the goal, it's really around making sure we examine, like, peeling back the layers on that what. When it starts out with, man, I would just love to be in a better position to have more cash flow. Let's say you have that cash flow tomorrow. Then what? Let's go beyond that. You got the additional cash flow. Now what? Man, I would really love to be able to pay off my home. Okay, magic wand, you've paid off the home. Now what? When you start asking the now what, it goes into, well, now that I got this freed up cash flow, man, I need to put myself in a position so that I don't have to work forever. Because what I've learned is the money that I'm, the retirement that I'm putting my income into, based off the Trinity study, the 4% rule, the fact that I've only been with this company X number of years, the fact that I have to wait till 65, 68, 72, whatever that age is before I can touch my money. Man, that is not a vibe. So, can I put this money to work now so that when that time does come, I'm in a better position? Or maybe I'm already approaching retirement age. I'm 50, 51, 52, and I realize that, you know what? The 250,000, the 150,000, the 335,000 that I have inside this 401k is not going to be enough. So while I'm over here focusing on whether or not I can pay off this house, man, I need to transition my focus so that I can pay myself first, put myself in a position to where other things can take place. So you peel back those layers and also understand why. Why is this even a thing? You know, how do I go about creating that generational wealth so that my family will never have to deal with the challenges that I'm dealing with? So Is it possible that I can not only put myself in a position to be able to retire early, but I can also set up generations after me to never have to deal with these things? Is there a vehicle that exists? And then ultimately, we haven't talked any about inflation today. I think I highlighted a little bit in one of our previous client examples, but safeguarding against inflation. If we continue on the path that we're on, meaning let's take everything that we've talked about today out. I am just going to work every day, putting my money into my company's retirement account, getting the match that I'm receiving, and I expect by the time I retire, that's going to be enough. But then you learn 15, 20, 30 years from now when you go to retire that not only is my retirement account not where it needs to be, that dollar that I started contributing 30 years ago is not the same value 30 years from now. Inflation has done something. So therefore, not only do I not have enough in my account, now it even costs more to be able to sustain my lifestyle. So not only do I have less retirement than I needed, the dollar isn't worth the same. So, right, I need to either work longer or never stop. How do I identify where that goalpost should be? Meaning, what are those actions we should take to put ourselves in a position so that we can safeguard ourselves against inflation, right? So, it's very similar to your approach to velocity banking. Meaning, before you can do velocity banking, you have to understand your numbers. You have to understand what's going in, you have to understand what's coming out. Because based off that difference, you know how much you have available to you to put to work. But why do you identify the goal though? Well, you work backwards. Meaning, what is if the goal in high level? If I make six figures a year and my objective is to have six figures in retirement, what's my time horizon? Is it 30 years? Let's say it is. Then okay, if I need a six-figure income in 30 years, what does six figures look like 30 years from now? And so that's where you bring in inflation. I need to go to the inflation calculator, dump in that 100,000 using the whatever the inflation rate is. What does 100,000 need to be in 30 years? And once you see that number, that gives you a better understanding and or idea what you need to do as it relates to paying yourself first. And let's be truthful. $100,000 30 years from now, you may learn that, whoa, the amount that I need to pay myself today, I literally cannot do and be able to live. But here's the piece. At least you learned that today. You didn't learn that 20 years from now when you thought you were going to retire in 10 to learn that, you know what, this figure that I was going after, I am so far away from that that I probably can't retire. You learned that 30 years prior, so at least you know that everything you do is intentional. So when I start paying myself first, maybe I'm just going to start with the $500 a month that I have. But as I get those bonuses, as I get that tax return, as I grow in my company, as I get promotions, as things start to improve in my life, I'm doing less buying stuff and things and elevating my lifestyle to match my income. I'm doing more to place my income in a position to where it can work for me so that I can hit that whatever that inflation number would be in the future because I've already done the math.